Do you feel there's been a shadow over your party this week in respect of what's happened in respect of Joy Redsell?
Clearly the timing of that is interesting, isn't it? Somebody's been sitting on the information that they had for a while. They've chosen to bring it out into the week running up to the most important council meeting of the year. And on the one hand, I do have a very real concern that there is a smear campaign and there is a degree of harassment going on against Councillor Redsell. And this is not the only incident that's happened this week. There have been other things which they concern me on that level. At the same time, once I'd done the full investigation, once I'd looked very carefully at the facts of the matter, the fact was that Joy had made an error of judgment. And we know with all of the scrutiny that the planning committee has been under and the planning process in Thurrock has been under, you can't afford even one slip-up like that. So I've had a frank but sad conversation with Joy about it. At the end of that conversation, she made the decision that she didn't want to be renominated for planning committee this year. I do believe that's the right decision. The one comfort that I take out of that is that it allows us to bring a great new team on board. There's been lots of criticism that the planning committee is made up of, if you like, the same group of people year after year. We've got a fantastic new team coming through in planning now. I notice again that hasn't been reciprocated on the other side of the chamber, and I really look forward to what we're going to achieve on planning this year.
I interpreted 2 days ago that you were saying that you understood that this meeting was just two friends talking about something that was a planning application that wasn't active, so to speak, and in respect to the code of conduct, I mean, it didn't apply. Today's statement, it seemed to indicate that has the stories been changing over the last few days?
I think I've done a much more forensic job of looking at the facts over the last couple of days, and that's what's changed. I mean, you have to recognise in the post-election period and what's going on, we've seen this every year. We've seen stuff like this come out, we've seen smears thrown at people, we've seen little videos pulled out of the bag for this particular moment, we've seen accusations thrown, and it's always turned out to just be political troublemaking. So my initial assumption when I first did a brief overview of what the situation was, and given the timing of it, the fact that it was done anonymously, the fact that it was stuck on YouTube rather than being put as a formal complaint to the council, it had all the hallmarks of this, political troublemaking. But at the same time, I couldn't make that assumption. I did have to investigate it properly. And as I did the investigation, the conclusion that I reached is, whilst clearly the timing and the way it's been done are political troublemaking, and there's no doubt about that, that actually within that, unfortunately, Councillor Redsell had made an error of judgment. She recognises that, I recognise that, and in the circumstances, we feel that the reputation of the planning committee and public confidence in the planning committee is so important to Thurrock Council going forwards that we want to demonstrate that at least on our side of the committee we are beyond reproach. And sadly we've had to make a decision that puts that clear marker in and says that's the way we're going to do things.